by.
Oh, so it didn't do the 5-minute countdown. Well, everybody watching right now, we got the 5-minute countdown. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Digging Deeper Podcast. Special guest, Mr. Allen Guthmiller in the building.
Hey.
Co-host,
Oh, wait,
Errol Bremer.
it's over there. There we
Welcome,
There we go. There we go. Good to see everybody this evening. Holy moly, we got quite a bit of folks in here. 49 to be exact on the button. So first and foremost, Errol, if you want to go ahead and give quite a few shout outs here, we can get the podcast rocking and rolling.
What's up, guys? Thanks for coming back. Here we are. So let's see. We got Rick Stash in the house. What's up, Rick? Chris CJ Hayes. What's up, Chris? Don Went, Mr. Troublemaker. Love you, Don.
I am Mr. Troublemaker.
Yeah, it's Area 5. What's up, Rob? Robert E. Lee is watching. What's up, Mr. Alaska? God, let's see.
Robert E. Lee. Hey, man, give me a call. You got my personal cell, brother, man. Let's make some things happen.
We got Dallas Edwards, Mr. Stephen Bertrand. What's up? Let's see who else we got here. Philip Berry. David Osterberg. What's up, buddy? How you doing? What's up, Mr. David Peterson, the Matt man himself, Green Matt?
Alan, do you have your video with audio on YouTube?
Yes, I do. I have my
mute the YouTube audio on it. So watch.
Mute the YouTube. Oh, okay. I see what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of a
delay.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
No worries. Happens to the best of us.
I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from.
No worries. Told Grandpa to turn the TV down in the background.
Well, I have my phone on here too, so I'm like, looking at it, and I thought, okay, I better mute the phone and stuff. No, it's still going on. So
I have done that more times than I can count on my hands and toes. I got 4 screens up, and believe you me, I'm like, is it this one? Is it that one? And we're live, and I'm like, what's going on here? Just having an explosion moment. Like, I don't know what to do.
Oh, boy. Yeah, technology,
it's fun
right?
stuff. Yeah, technology. It gets to become the worst of us and the best of us. So Arrow, we got quite a bit here in the YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and give some shout outs real quick. Let's see. One Day Out Prospecting. Good to see you in the building. Raymond Corris, Jeremiah Framstad, Gold Monkey Prospecting. Oh, look at that. We got Dream Mat in the building. All right. What's going on, Dave, Tim, over in the Dream Mat Cave? Good to see you guys. We got Wade Dunn, Joe Hurd, Dallas Edwards, Jay Wells. Man, Robert Bean.
Crowd here tonight.
Holy moly. Yes, we do. Indeed.
People watching.
Sonny Rico, what's going on, big dog? Miners Rule from back east. What's up, bro? Jan Drake. How we doing, Jan? All right, so let's see. We got a couple more here. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll get it rocking and rolling. Jason A.U. Colorado. What's up, brother man? Steven Deerdorf, Wade Dunn, Jason Malcolm, Solomon Bauman. Holy moly, that's too many to name.
Solomon?
All right, so with that being said, once we get to getting into somewhat of the podcast, we're going to change things up a little bit. It's going to be a first for the PB family. It's going to be a first for the podcast. It's going to be exciting stuff. Can't tell you nothing about it until it actually happens. With that being said, special guest Allen Guthmiller on the podcast this evening. We're going to be talking about the Gold Rattler and what he has invented. I mean, this machine is it's nuts. It blows my mind. As a prospector myself, I was trying to dive super deep into the instructional YouTube video that he has on the Gold Rattler. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't pick his brain enough with the very short couple of minutes we had before we jumped live onto the podcast. So hopefully I'll be able to pick his brain quite a bit on the podcast this evening and get some of my own questions answered. Anyways, aside from that, so first and foremost, Mr. Allen, how the heck did you get into gold prospecting, my man?
Well,
when did it first start for you?
Let me give you the Reader's Digest version. Actually, I've been interested in prospecting since I was a kid. And my parents and I and my brother were camping up in the mountains, and we were fishing for trout. And I really didn't want to fish. I wanted to pan for gold. So I kept pestering my mom. And here I'm like, I don't know, 10 years old. And I kept passing her, and she grabbed me and a dishpan that she happened to have. She dragged me down to the edge of the stream, stuffed it into the dirt, swished it around in the water, and said, "See, there's no gold. Quit bothering me." And then she went back to fishing. And at that point, I was like, "Yeah, this is it. This is so cool," you know. And after that, I was hooked. And a few years later, I hooked up with some friends. We went up to Cajon Pass. By the way, this is in California, Southern California. And that's where I got my very first piece of shiny in a sluice that I had borrowed. So in a place called Blue Cut. And after that, the fever was on, and that's it. And I've been mining and been interested in mining ever since. It's one of my many hobbies. And I've done a lot of hard rock mining, placer mining and hard rock, kind of 50-50 on each, you know. So I've got a lot of experience underground as well. So we had a mine out by Searchlight many years ago that we dug into an old prospect and actually relocated the vein. And we started drilling and blasting and got enough gold out of it to pay for all of our mining equipment. Didn't get rich, but we had fun, you know.
You're giving too many goodies all in the first 5 minutes, my man. I'll tell you what.
So many questions.
Oh, yeah, I got 1,000 of them now. So I hope you're prepared.
We can keep rolling.
So when you first actually found your first piece of shiny, about what age were you? Were you still a teenager?
Yeah, I was a teenager, about like 14 or so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you found your first piece, and it was something ecstatic for you, and you were like, "Yeah, I could do this. I can make this happen," kind of deal, right? And
what happened to that piece of gold?
Actually, yeah, several pieces, and I was just like, "Yeah," you know.
Errol had a good question. Say it again, Errol.
What happened to that first piece of gold? Where is it today?
You know what? It's probably mixed in my. I never sell my gold, so it's somewhere in one of my vials that are sitting in my locker.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Me too.
That's awesome.
I would think I would separate it out and like put it on a plaque and hang it on the wall. My first piece of shiny, but I didn't think of it back then.
You're like, I ain't digging through that vial these days.
50 years ago or 45 years ago. I'm a lot older than you think I am.
So you got to a point where in your adult years, obviously, you got to get a full-time job, yada, 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 the whole 9 to 5 deal, right? And at what point in time were you able to actually go out there more often than not? Because, obviously through our teens and our early 20s, that's something that, is very hard to be able to do unless you can do it on the weekend and schedule it out, this, that, and the other. At what point in time could you possibly say that you were like, you know what, I can actually do this a lot more. I can go out there and actually have some fun and do things like that.
Well, predominantly it's still the weekends. I work, I'm a medical professional. I work in a hospital, and it's a very demanding job, high stress job. And so going out gold prospecting is kind of a relief.
That's good.
It's just kind of like getting out in the open, fresh air, get away from all the sick people. It's just kind of refreshing that way. So
get away from everything, technology, the whole works.
Right. But honestly with you, even my college days, I came up here I live in Las Vegas now, or Henderson, and I came to UNLV. And as a student at UNLV, I brought a dryer washer with me and pans and stuff.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
Weekends, I would get out to the desert and start running my dryer washer. I went to a lot of places,
That's awesome.
It didn't stop me. And, actually gold mining and prospecting is my third hobby, actually. Aviation is my first hobby. And then astronomy is my second hobby. So I build and design telescopes. I build and design aircraft.
Oh, that's awesome.
You can see where the Gold Rattler is evolving to.
Right. Well, that's the most amazing thing about prospectors and miners is, some people hold prospecting and mining so near and dear to their heart that some of the other hobbies that they do have coincide with prospecting and mining. Their ideas, their ingenuity, the way they do things, and it brings about something such as the Gold Rattler, something that I'm picking my brain on every single day. Like I said, the last few days, I'm like, okay, well, I really want to learn about this like tenfold. And I'm watching the video and where the bolt placements are and the springs and the way you have, things being broken up once it's getting on the top plate there. And I'm just like, how does this, and the further I get into it, it's just more exciting. And I'm like, this is just a phenomenal freaking this is a phenomenal device. Like, it doesn't just take a prospector or miner to create something like this. Like, you have to have outside ideas and ways of doing things from different hobbies to really bring something so amazing to the forefront of what, especially out in Arizona and Nevada, where it's dry washing. That's all it is. The majority of it is. And if there is wet washing, then you're bringing a tote. You know, Stephen Bertrand, love you, bro. I know you're watching. You know, that's something he does.
Hey.
And I know that's what you do. You know, you guys bring the water to you guys to do the wet washing. And so to be able to see, and to be able to see a filtration system all in one and see that fresh water coming right out the top tube every single time, is just like, it blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. So, so with that being said, first and foremost, so you got to a point where you're actually able to get out there, do a little bit more, have a little bit more fun with it. You found the shiny. You get extremely excited. At what point in time were you trying to figure out the type of gear you want to bring out there? Were you in your mid years, let's say 20s to 30s, were you looking for the best of the best, or were you just like, you know what, this is budget friendly, I'm going to take it out there, and it worked really well for you?
Well, it's kind of like, I think the budget friendly idea is closer to the truth. You know, most of us gold prospectors were very crafty in what we can turn junk into something that works.
Right.
We all do.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And I think gold prospectors, especially, or any kind of miners for that matter, are probably the most ingenious people on the earth. You know, in terms of being able to take something, conceive it, and make it happen. You know, really. I mean, so I'm just one of thousands of people that are like that, you know. So, but yeah, for me, it was just for the weekend prospecting, for the enjoyment, you know, to get out there and do stuff. And the claims that I have are pretty good. They're not great, but they're pretty good. On average, it runs about 1 gram per yard, you know, and then there's some areas that are really poor, so it is spotty. And so that's you just deal with it. So, and for me, it's close to home. It's only an hour and a half drive out there. Steve knows that, right, Steve? Yeah. And so he's out there a lot too. And it's not that far. And of course, you know, Jeff Williams, he's got his set. We have claims next to each other. So I see him on occasion. So yeah.
No, that's, you know, and that's the fun of it all. I mean, at the end of the day, we practice and we preach in PB every single podcast we have. You know, gold's always the bonus. Getting out there away from technology, away from your everyday life, and being able to enjoy nature for what it has to offer is really the win-win situation. And if you get to find some gold, bring it home. That's always the bonus. That's always the bonus.
Yeah.
That's the big bonus. So, you know, with that being said, I'm so eager right now. I really want to dive into the Gold Rattler. I'm not going to lie. Okay. I really want to dive into it pretty damn deep.
I'll dive as deep as I can without dispelling any kind of patent.
No.
Right now.
Believe you me, my man. I totally get it. No, I just have some of the most basic questions.
Message that stuff. You could just private message that stuff. That's cool.
No, first and foremost, what made you want to come up with a different way of being able to process dirt out in the desert?
Okay, well, interestingly enough, we're digging in a lot of clay, a lot of metamorphic rock, and with that clay and metamorphic rock, it's really hard to separate the gold with a dry wash. Okay, and the material tends to clump. So if you throw the dirt on top of the initial hopper, a lot of the clumps roll off onto the header pile, and then whatever flows through the dry washer riffle board, a lot of them are tiny little balls of gooey clay that are dried up and flow right on out. And usually the clay, especially the red clay, traps a lot of gold. Steve knows that. He knows that.
The finer gold, it traps it like a magnet. Oh, yeah.
He knows all about that clay. And so the real problem is that I would run my dry washer, and I don't have a great dry washer. I don't have like a 151 or anything like that. I just got a basic, simple dry washer backpacker kind of thing. But I was observing that I kept losing gold because I'd pan my tailings. I'd pan the whole tailings. And I'm like, okay, this is not working. And you always know that water is much more efficient. And when I began to study how the physics behind a dry washer versus running a sluice, a regular, using
Right.
gravity in your favor, I realized the inherent efficiency of dry washers in general. And a lot of people will take a dry washer out and they say, well, I get all the gold because when I run my tailings through my dry washer again, I don't get much. And really, there's a physics behind that called random walk. It's kind of a paradox.
Right.
And what happens is the physics applied on the first run apply on the second run. So therefore, by random walk, you get a few extra pieces on the second run, but you don't get much. So it's not worth your time. But if you were to really pan it out, you would discover that you're losing about 30% of your gold. And so
that's what I was going to ask is, you decided to pan all of your tailings and kind of figure out what's going on the end of the situation there. And you were discovering a percentage, and like you just said, it was 30%, right? Or more.
And what's even more interesting is that I was running dry washer tailings through my dry washer, somebody else's tailings,
Right.
And there's plenty of them out there.
Oh,
and I'm finding gold with my dry washer. It's like, whoa, okay, so they're really missing out. So how much was really in that tailing pile?
Right.
And so then that's where you see, like, for instance, my initial video that I produced, which was the trommel, the blue trommel buckets and all that.
Yep.
Put it out about 7 years ago. It's got over 550,000 views or something like that. That was when I was running that material, those were all tailings. And I was astounded by my low tech recovery of that. So I knew I was onto something.
Well, and you still were pulling in gold off of people's tailings.
Yes,
exactly. And it wasn't minuscule fly poop here and there. It was a decent percentage.
Oh yeah, we were getting pickers and chunks and nuggets and okay, Now, and then I have another claim that's actually in a wash that I mine, and it's mostly stream gravel. So it's really kind of almost rid of most of the clay. It's mostly black sand and gravels and stuff like that. And I was amazed how much I was recovering from those tailings too. And so, and I love this. It's hard to explain, but I have this kind of this wash that funnels through this small little narrow rock area, and it makes into a natural sluice box. And the bottom of it is all kind of bedrock and cleachy, all cemented. Well, it just captures the gold like crazy and the black sand. And anyway, so every time it flash floods, it restocks itself. So I go back down there and suck it all up, and
that's awesome.
Wash plant, hey,
right, natural wash plant. There you go.
Yeah.
So you decided, you know what? I'm actually going to come out with something that can battle the elements, so to speak, right? Battle the clay, have a better capture rate.
Yeah.
Something that's portable, something that's convenient, something that works in all aspects out in the desert.
Yeah.
And so you decided the game plan, you decided to start designing. In your opinion, how much time did you take to be able to design the Gold Rattler? How much time did you give yourself? Excuse me.
Well, you could say that the Gold Rattler is an evolution of all the other things that I've done. Right. And so each is a step process. So you can say that it took 7 years to get where I'm at, right. Over all the different steps and processes and experiments and stuff like that. And of course, the big thing is water recirculation and trying to maintain the purity of that water so you can keep reusing it over and over. There's always an inherent loss because you are washing rocks and most of it's dry. So there is some inherent absorption.
Evaporation and all that good stuff.
All that stuff. So mostly it's absorption. So, and Steve knows because he does the same thing. And he has all these, tubs set up in a row to do the same thing to try to mitigate the gooey clay that is suspended in the water.
Screening.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can't get rid of that muck, then you're just recirculating it back into your system, and then you're
pushing your gold out.
Yeah, because you're now running milk over the sluice instead of water, or chocolate.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. I've discussed quite a bit with Steve way back when Steve first started situating his recirc, and he actually hit it right on the button with everything that he needed to make it actually happen out there.
Yeah.
I was ecstatic to see that he had made it happen, and what he was doing was working perfectly. And it was actually funny. I was like, well, what are you using? And obviously, I'm going to keep that a secret because that's Steve's little trade secret. And if you guys follow Steve enough, you know what it is. But I'm not going to go ahead and give it on the podcast. But I'm like, so what are you using to help mitigate that clay to fall so quickly? And he's like, oh, it's just this stuff. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I've been using it and it worked perfect. And I'm like, dude, I kind of was racking my brain, during wintertime, I like to recircle my garage, all my tailings, I bring 5-gallon buckets home all summer. And, it gets muddy. A couple of 5-gallon buckets, it's muddy. And then there's no point in trying to grab fine gold off those. It's just not going to work. So I remember, what's his name? Dickinson, the Dickinson claims over there that GPA has. He came out with a D4 plus flock that he was selling on eBay for a little while, and stuff works really, really good. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough of it for the prospecting community, and he sold out, and that was all that it is. And now the bottle that I do have is more of a vintage bottle I'm never going to let go that I'm ever going to use.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the key behind the research situation is time, okay? And the word time is key. In other words, how long does the pond get a chance to settle before it moves on to the next pond, to the next pond, to the next pond, and then to the pump back up to the shaker deck or the your spray bar. And so a flocculant of any kind, I do use a little aluminum sulfate myself, okay?
Right.
Flocculant, but it doesn't work that well because the recirculation time on my machine is 1.5 minutes, and you need at least 30 minutes of settling time to make any of that stuff work halfway good. Okay.
Yep. The enzymes actually don't activate to allow that clay to be devoured and pulled down to the bottom. That's
right. You see the big boys, they got huge, massive ponds, which is normal. So they have a lot of time for that flocculant to work between one pond to the next. So by the time it gets to the pump, it's pretty well cleaned out, and settled out. We're here in terms of a hobby prospector scenario where you're trying to keep everything as compact as possible. You can't do that.
Yeah. Well, and what I noticed with your setup that I absolutely love the most is you went back to the basics. Now, I'm not going to bring in a whole different scenario and this, that, and the other, but I will say in the most basic terms that you brought a situation to purify the water so much quicker, so much more efficiently. Yeah. And it's a no-brainer. It's all the materials are readily available. I mean, that's just an absolute no-brainer. You don't need to bring extra chemicals, extra metal oxides, things like that to purify the water that quick. You have a simple solution that works extremely well, and it's all mobile and compact, and it's absolutely phenomenal. It's awesome. Well, but enough of me chewing the fat on how excited I am about the Gold Rattler. Let's get back to the questions. So with the Gold Rattler, I do have a link, and I'm going to show a little bit of a clip here and a couple other things, but I want to get a little bit more into the questions here, the Q&A. But so with the Gold Rattler, you started designing the top, the midsection, and then where the tailings are going to go and things like that. Did you ever have a specific price point in mind to build it to where the weekend warrior could still buy it and use it?
Yeah. My goal was that key because I wanted to share it with everybody else. So I was we're in the manufacturing process, working out all the logistics, but I'm looking, my best guess right now is about $4,500. Okay. That includes the wash plant, the trailer, the tubs, the pump, the tubing, all the plumbing. The only thing you really need is the sand, the generator, and your water source.
Right.
So that's the only thing you really need to work out, and the hose and the electrical cord and stuff like that. So
the little discrepancies outside of the actual device itself.
Right. And my goal here is to have a very useful machine that people can take out in the field and use it. And of course, I've developed it so that way people can modify it to meet their own needs too. So, because I can't predict everybody's situation, but I'm sure most of us are pretty ingenuity and everything else. We can figure that out to meet your own needs, so it makes it work for you.
So that Gold Rattler, what is the how many gallons would that need to be efficient?
Okay. Basically, it takes 60 gallons to fill up all the tubs, and a couple of 5-gallon buckets as backup, material.
Yeah, backup reserve. Correct.
Yeah, exactly. And then, and also a panning tub, small panning tub for the cons. And so with that, it'll burn off another 40 gallons processing material. Okay. And that's just your inherent loss for washing rocks. So
now, is that in 1 day, 2 days time?
That's for running a cubic yard. So it depends how fast you run. Yeah. For me, I take my time, and it's basically I'll run about 1.5 yards a day, stuff like that. And when I fill up I have an IBC tank on the back of my truck. You can probably see it in the videos. Yeah. I fill it to like 200 gallons. It'll last me all weekend. So it's not a problem. Yeah.
So I mean, so if you took a specific amount of water, you should be perfectly fine for a weekend. There's no guys with big muscles that are going to try to pound through 3 yards of dirt in 1 weekend. It's just not going to happen.
Well, there's a few out that might, but let's face it, as time goes on, you get more tired. So by the time my machine is designed to run 2 yards per hour. Can I physically do that? No.
Right. Well, we got a sneak-in guest, Alan. We got a sneak-in guest.
I got to put my glasses on so I can see who it is. Oh, hey,
Mr. Chris. Mr. Chris, he decided to come on by. What's going on, brother, man? Oh. He decided to sneak on by. I didn't even know he was coming, so Mr. Special Guest here.
Well, I drove a long way, Anyway, so I have a gift I can give out.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, Vendetta Prospecting. This is his Christmas payment bag that he did for Miller Prospecting.
Heck yeah, we got a pater bag to give away this evening.
Yeah, and I have a couple of gold bucks.
Oh, gold backs. All right.
Cool.
Look at that. That is absolutely bad to the bone.
So I just wanted to drop that stuff off because I know everyone here is excited to be here.
He just so happens to drop on a podcast.
Oh, I can't help myself.
Hey, how can I do that?
Anyway, I got to go, but I just wanted to come by and say hi.
All right, brother, man. I love you, dude.
Cool. I like your whiskers.
Hey, thanks for coming back.
Okay.
Coming by.
All right. Oh, do you want that
special guest? Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
All right, everybody, say hi.
All right. See you guys.
Apparently, I got to move to Spokane to get a shoulder rub from Chris.
Apparently, I got to move to Spokane to get a shoulder rub from Chris. That's what Arrow said.
Yeah, I'll do it.
He said he'll do it.
I'll do a foot rub for a couple grams.
Yeah.
I love you, brother.
Everybody's got a price.
All right. Well, that was awesome. Absolutely phenomenal. Chris, come by and say hi. So I wasn't expecting that. Anyways, so back to the discussion.
I got a question. So do you have to clean out the silt out of the system, and how long does that take?
Sure.
And and how long can you run before you do that, or you just gauge what you're looking at as it's coming out of the pump and into the system?
You're right. A lot of it depends on your material. If it's heavy, very heavy in clay, like I'm mining, yes, you probably have to clean it out once or twice a day, depending on how much you're running. Generally, 1 yard to 1.5 yards is where I usually stop and clean it out. But I also use a Yabby pump. If you see me in some of the more later Gold Rattler videos, I'm using a Yabby pump to actually stick it down in the tubs and suck it out, So I'll suck out the gunk that's sitting on the bottom of the tub so I can keep running and keep going. So I'll take a few minutes for that. And there's a small amount of water loss with that, maybe, 2 or 3 gallons, but at least it cleans the tubs out so you can keep on rolling. So the water may turn brown, but the viscosity, it remains very lubricious. In other words, you can splash it. It's very splashy. It's not the consistency of milk at all, even though the color changes, but to a reddish brown color.
Yeah, you still don't have a thick consistency.
The density of the sediment isn't there yet.
Right.
In the water. It's just...
Well, you do reach a point now, if you're running stream gravel, you can run it all day and not even worry about it, because it's just a totally different texture. So, it's mostly grains versus very soft silk powdery stuff, and of course that's why the dewatering deck itself, that's the key behind that, is to remove most of your solids, before the filtering process. That's the key. And it's 150 mesh, so you're reducing everything down to about 75 microns. And
so does the dewatering table clog up?
No, it's designed, because the way the motors are set on it and the way it vibrates, it advances the material. Actually, the material is climbing uphill when it's going through it, because it's
the double motors. Yeah, the double motors.
The double motors create what we call a G-force,
and it's pushing it.
It causes the deck to actually move at 40, because you see them sitting at 45 degrees in relation to the plane of the table, and so it causes the deck to move down, inward, upward, and outward. So it's like a small ellipse. It's mostly in and out like this, but it's more, if you look at it very super fast photography or slow motion photography, you'll see the elliptical shape that it makes. And that allows the material, as it lands on the deck, which we call the pond, the front end of it, or where the material and water land, it causes everything to churn and mix. And so the water eventually drops through the screen. And of course, the material, being actually lighter than water most of the time, will float to the top. And as it moves across the deck, obviously less water is available, so it turns down. The gooey mud begins to settle and turn into these little mud balls. And so by the time it reaches the end of the dewatering deck, you see those little mud balls coming off the end of it. And that's pretty well dehydrated gooey clay. So by eliminating that first, that's a huge step. So you're taking, basically, I'm running 1/4 inch material through the system all the way down to 75 microns and throwing it out. And of course, all the gold is being trapped on the sluice. And then from there, all the water drops through onto a sieve tray, and the sieve is then fed into the sand filters. And so the sand filters is the key of stripping the remaining suspended particles at a fast rate. So I have 1/4 inch sand in the first tub, so it all feeds in there. And what happens is the water flows down through the sand matrix, and of course the suspended particles attract to the sand, and then it breaks off because it starts getting too big, and it falls through the matrix and ends up in the bottom of the bucket. And of course, in the bottom bucket is a whole bunch of holes, because everything needs to exit. By that time, it's just a clumpy, gooey blob of clay or whatever, and it just settles on the bottom of the tub. So it's not mixing back into your water and floating around. It just kind of layers out there. And of course, consequently, also the water exits and floats up and then spills into the next tub, which has 1/8 inch sand. And so it does the same thing. And then finally, it goes down to the pump tub, where the pump does a dual purpose, because the pump that's in there is a little too powerful for the whole machine. So I use that to feed a pressurized sand filter that has 1/16 inch sand. So I'm stripping and stripping finer and finer suspended particles. So by the time it goes through all that, feeds back into the pump tub, it's cleaning itself out.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
Pretty cool.
That's an absolutely phenomenal process.
What's that? I'm sorry, sir.
No, it's an absolutely phenomenal process. And I'm actually going to put the link in here in a minute. If you watch how he explains it from the beginning to the end on how that wash plant works, and the way that he has the last filter actually allow the water to come up through that sand versus the opposite way, it's pulling the heavy materials that have gone through, and it allows that heavy material to stick underneath that as the water pulls up, and you have clear water to be able to put back on your wash plant. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Like I said, I am head over heels. I mean, I don't have any deserts near me. I am Pacific Northwest grown, but still, it's just, it's a phenomenal idea. We have some comments here. Go for it, Alan.
Well, it'll work just about anywhere. And actually, we are in the process, that sand filter system, in a certain way, the way we're going to set it up, will also work for stream. And we are going to try to see if we can meet the water quality standards in like California, Oregon, and Washington, and get the water board approval. Because what it'll do in a first pass is that it'll filter out all the muck. So the turbidity going out of the sand filter will be just as clean as the water coming into the wash plant.
That's a big ticket.
That's a big ticket. Yeah.
That's a
really
big
big
ticket.
ticket.
And so the key behind this is that, we have the Gold Rattler and the machine that's going to be developed eventually for, high banking on like the Yuba River or wherever,
Wherever,
where now you can't get 300 feet to a river. Well, now you'll be able to pull right up to it,
It takes guys, Errol, it takes guys like this to make shit happen.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It seriously does. I mean, if you look at
that's what I've been saying. That's what I've been saying this entire time. All these people writing our regulations, I don't think they realize that this is all mining is figuring out how
smart
individuals
get around this
is and how to get around it. And
well, I know a lot of good friends.
We got 150 years worth of technology to fall on and think about, and new ideas popping up, and eventually we'll catch you.
Well, and the thing is,
if they want clean water, okay, we'll make clean water, and not only that, we'll also recover the mercury that's in the ground too. That's left over.
We'll give it to you in a satchel.
Yeah, so that's the far out future of Gold Rattler, is to accommodate that, so that way we can sell to more customers throughout. That's the whole idea. Besides just the desert.
No, you really came out with a phenomenal invention, and what you have going with the Gold Rattler, you have no idea just how many doors you've opened across the United States. It's not just in deserts anymore, and you know this as well as I do.
I see it. Oh yeah, I get the comments all the time.
You've opened doors, and it only takes just so many doors to have open to really work on the regulations that need to be fixed and get it to a point where we're not working around the regulations, we're working with the regulations.
Yeah,
if that's something that we have to face and something that we cannot change, no matter how many voices we bring to the table and bring to the meetings and discussions, and if we can work with it, that's just as good as working around it, if not better.
Yep.
So
got to get the Gold Rattler off the ground first.
Well, I mean, it only takes time. That's all it takes. And people see it takes a lot of time, but you have to understand is it takes one person to bring something to the table for other brains to wrap around and understand and comprehend, and then it just gets dispersed in the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I say, we're a lot of inventors out here. We're
big time aeronautics. I mean, we can go on and on and on. I got good friends that are in many different industries, engineers. Yep. We're talking landscape enthusiasts. I mean, just from the wildest, different fields. Aero, good plumber, best plumber I know. I mean, it
probably
takes...
the only plumber he knows, but I'll take it.
But it takes these different types of individuals to really bring a different understanding on what we're trying to overcome with regulations in different states, and what we're really trying to get to the forefront, and overcome the troubles and the problems that we have in different states. It takes guys like you. It really does. And that invention is freaking, like I said, I'm not even a desert person. I have not seen a desert with my own two eyeballs. But I am absolutely
down sometime.
I will, but I am absolutely floored with that type of invention that you have and the way that you constructed it and the placement.
I'm very humbled. I'm very humbled by the feedback, the people, that see this thing and they see it work, and just it's I mean, I'm not trying to show off or anything like that. It's just I'm just very humbled by just trying to make something work.
Well, the showing off comes with you doing such phenomenal work. That's just like anybody in the world. We're all just nobodies trying to be a somebody, enjoying our life and being who we want to be. And people pick up on that, and with the invention that you made, people picked up on it and enjoy it and love your enthusiasm on everything that you do, what you talk about, how you talk about things. And that's the phenomenal thing, is you be yourself and you come out with something that actually can be revolutionary. That's a whole different ballgame. Now we're talking.
It is really it's really exciting. I don't really show it on my videos. Like I'm starting this Gold Rattler on the Road series, so I'm going to different events and setting it up so people can play with it and work it. And you should see their eyeballs.
Well, I was going to say we actually
staring at this thing, you know.
We have a few comments here that I want to run through real quick. Sure. In fact, we have 218 comments on Facebook. We're gonna get through a couple of them, guys. We can't get through all of them. I'm sorry.
Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm flattered. I'm humble. Thank you very much. You know.
Yeah, everybody is absolutely freaking floored.
We love your content, man. I mean, not just the ingenuity, but the positivity and fun you bring about when you present it. That's awesome.
Well,
we love it all.
Well, we got a phase. No, there's no doubt about it. You know, I'm enjoying.
That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Is having fun, enjoying yourself. Yeah. If you're not enjoying yourself, then you're not having fun. There's no point in doing it. Facebook user, you guys are more than welcome to sign up for StreamYard if you guys want your names popped up. We talk about this every single podcast. If not, no worries. You guys know who you are. Love you guys. With that being said, Facebook user says, saw the Gold Rattler Mojave Prospectors Association meeting. Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely freaking bad to the
bone.
Another
a couple of times. Yep.
Yeah. Another Facebook user says, we enjoyed seeing it run at the AMRA outing in Arizona.
Yeah. We had a great time out at AMRA. It was just a lot of folks. I didn't really do much. I set up the wash plant. The guys went out like 6 miles up the road to this claim, got it like, I don't know, 30, 40 gallon or buckets filled, at least 3/4 filled, and brought them all, trucked them all back down. And we just fed it through the wash plant, and everybody had a fun time just throwing dirt at it. You know?
Oh, I bet you were so nerve-wracked. Don't lie. You were so nerve-wracked.
No, I was, I was watching things. I was watching all the parts of the movie, right? Everything's smooth, everything cruising along. And I was a little worried that maybe they were feeding it a little too fast, but no, the Gold Rattler was just handling it with no problem.
It was just eating it up.
It was just eating it up. So, yeah. Awesome. I mean, we had like a yard's worth of material push through that thing in probably, 45 minutes, And, of course, like I say, it was all hand-fed, so it's going to take a little more time. Yeah. And, it was great. And we got some really nice gold, too,
That makes you feel even better.
So everybody got to take some gold home with them. One of the guys brought a whole bunch of little bottles, and he meticulously picked up all the little chunks and pieces and pickers and all that and put them in.
Oh, that's so badass.
Everybody got a little piece of gold,
So Steve Tarot was asking, how close to Prescott are you?
Well, I'm in Henderson, Nevada. That's where I live, and my claims are over in Northwest Arizona. So out in that direction. So
right,
Prescott. Yeah, probably if you're going to Arizona, where I'm at, probably a couple hours drive. Yep.
Absolutely awesome. So there you go, Steve Tarot. So we're going to do about 10 more comments, and then we're going to take a half-minute break, or a half minute. Geez, excuse me, a 5-minute break. I got to go to the bathroom. That's the problem. So we got about 10 more comments we're going to run through real quick, and then we'll take our 5-minute break, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty, all the goodies. Okay. Let's see here. So another Facebook user says, love Allen's homemade trommel.
Awesome. I love that, because that was my first thing that I invented, and I built it, and I says, well, I had a lot of people say, why don't you make a trommel series on how to make the thing? So I said, okay. And so I just threw that up there. It's a 3-part series. And I take everybody step by step, exactly what I was doing to make this trommel. And I can't tell you how many literally hundreds of people have built this trommel, and taken it. And I get pictures from people all the time showing in the field, and they're feeding dirt into it and stuff and working it. And they're showing me the gold. And it's just terrific,
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, there is.
I think there was a guy on here. I don't know how far back it is. He said he's got everything to build it.
Yep.
The trommel.
The trommel. Yeah. I mean, it's a simple use of materials. Most of the stuff I found at the hardware store. I mean, some of the stuff I got online, like the windshield wiper motors to a Jeep that drive the thing.
Oh, that's so funny. I have a comment for that. I just saw it.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
on eBay, you know, and
Gold Monkey says, "Are you still using a Ford windshield wiper?"
well, a Ford will work. I just happened to be the Jeep was cheaper, so I used the Jeep windshield wiper motor. But yeah, you know, from like a 1990s vintage, 80s vintage, you know, Jeep, and you can still get them, and it works great. You know,
That's awesome.
Turns the trommel at about 30 RPM, so it's perfect. You know.
Absolutely.
So when you're out at the hardware store, at the automotive store, whatever, you just find yourself wandering, looking at stuff sometimes, going, "Oh, I might be able to use that."
Actually, I have fun doing that because I go to the hardware store because in my brain I'm thinking, okay, I need this widget. I need something to make this thing happen, and it's kind of funny because you know, we get a store clerk that'll come up to me. Can I help you, sir? You know.
No, I don't know if you can.
For my wash plant that does this, this, and this, and you know, you see this drawn, you know. Okay, well, good luck, sir.
Yep, been there many times. I need a bolt that's not too long, not too small, this diameter.
Yeah. Whatever thing I'm looking for. Oh, I'm in the PVC pipe section all the time. I'm always
same.
You know, looking for, you know, and I'm putting things together. They come over, can I help you, sir? And I've got this monstrosity of a thing.
45-degree angle, no thread, both sides. Yep. Please, let's do it.
Yeah, this is for the spray bar for the upper wash plant, and they're like, what's that?
Yep. 245s, no threads. Let's make it happen. Well, unfortunately, yeah, I knew that. That's why I'm here.
Right. Yep.
Oh, geez Louise. Let's see. So we have a couple more here we're going to go through, and then we'll go on our 5-minute break. Let's see. Crux Prospecting says, Alan touched on something I talk about a lot, how much a guy can physically dig. It's really under-discussed subject. I agree with you, Crux.
Yes.
Alan, you want to touch on that?
Yes, it is, because it depends on your material. If you're digging like the hard clay material that I'm digging into, you swing your pick or a shovel into it and nothing happens because it just absorbs the shock. And so you got to dig that crap up before you put it in the wash plant. That's a lot of effort. And so if you're trying to dig a yard an hour, good luck, you know, with that. Stream gravel, obviously a lot easier. Plus you can suck it up with a shop vac.
You know what's crazy that I'll have to touch on with this subject is over in Montana. A old good buddy of mine. I was over there in certain parts of Montana, and if you guys watched the recent podcast, you guys would know exactly where I'm talking about. But that was the same thing. It was very old, ancient ground. It had not been dug into. It was almost concrete. And it just was extremely hard to get into. We had to take an actual drill with a attachment to actually get through any of that ground because it was so thick. It was like concrete. Blew my mind.
Yeah, my ground that I'm working is red gooey clay, and then it sits on top of caliche. And of course, most of the gold is all above the caliche layer.
Right.
And it's anywhere from a foot thick to a couple of feet thick. It's not very much, but in the summertime when it gets hot out there, that stuff turns rock hard. And so, in fact, right now is the perfect time to dig because we had a lot of rain and snow all winter long and into spring. So now it's soaked through that 2 foot thick layer. So now it's time to get out there and swing it. And that's what I'm going to do this weekend is really move some material so I can stockpile it for the summertime when it's too hot.
Right.
I mean, back to the subject though, he's right. If you're digging fresh virgin ground, it can take a lot of time, and maybe a half yard is all you're going to get a day, and that's if you work real hard at it. But the nice thing I love about the Gold Rattler and what I've designed it for to do is I demonstrate how easy it processes dry washer tailings. So, and you got to figure there's hundreds and thousands of those tailings throughout the desert, and probably a lot richer territory than I'm at. That are just waiting to be reprocessed, and all you need is a shovel. You know, you don't need to sit there and swing and work a sweat up and all that. It's already loose. They've already done all the work for you.
I think, Errol, we need to shut this podcast down and we need to go over to Arizona and go over all those tailings, because that is like the best. That is the best kept secret right there. It really is. That's absolutely phenomenal.
If you're prospecting and you're not trying to get rich, but you want to have a good time, what would be more profitable in a way is to run somebody else's tailings and get the gold they missed, you know?
Right.
And I can assure you that every dry washer tailing, you know, will have something in it worth somebody's value, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, dry washers, they do a phenomenal job. I mean, we could talk about manufacturer after manufacturer, but in the all reality of it, they all give a certain percentage, scientifically speaking or technically speaking, they give a certain percentage.
Right.
So there's the rest.
Yeah, exactly. But the key is behind it. I love dry washing. Don't get me wrong, because dry washing is a great prospecting tool. You know, you want to test the ground. Hey, take the dry washer out.
Quick, easy.
Quick, simple, easy to set up. Bang, you're ready to go. You know, and once you find a piece of good ground, then bring in the heavy artillery, and then really go at it. You know, and that's the key.
We have
you know, the type of digging also kind of, you know, makes you think about how big of equipment you actually need, you know, because for me, I had a 10-inch sluice and I was like, man, I don't know if I need anything that big, because once you get into the gravel bars, you start getting into the bigger boulders, you know, you're slowing your processing down because you're working around the boulder to get it out. And then getting it out and then start that whole process again. So you don't really need a bigger sluice. You just need to be able to process what you're able to dig.
And
that's a huge key.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yep. So it all depends. And, you know, of course, the beauty behind the Gold Rattler is that you can run any size you want and take your time doing it. It's not going to hurt. You're not going to lose any gold, you know, by the way that I won't get into the riffle system per se, but you're not going to lose any gold if you let it sit for 5 minutes and don't run any material through it. It's not like, oh, you got to shut it down. No, you just let it run. It'll be fine. In fact, it cleans out really nicely. It gets rid of all the black sand.
Big time. So we have a few more comments here we're going to run into. Jason AU Colorado says, well, I have to, I'll actually put it up here. He says, well, I have to work early tomorrow. I'll catch the rest of the show tomorrow. Good night, Alan, Jaron, and Arrow. Good night, big dog.
Good night.
Appreciate you jumping on. So we got some really juicy ones here. I absolutely am excited to talk about. Let's see here. So Rob McGuire, first and foremost, before I actually put the banner on the bottom, he says, you can find Alan's channel here. In fact, before we jump into the commercial, we're going to go ahead and put a ticker down there for him. So anybody that doesn't know, jump over there, give him a like, give him a share, give him some love. Dude's a freaking badass.
I appreciate all the stuff. In fact, my latest video out is from Tombstone, which I had a lot of fun there. So check that out.
I gave you some shit on it because I had to, because I love you, Alan. He's like, no, I was there. I was like, I know you were there.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I do know how to use Photoshop, so yeah.
Oh, I love it. No, we have another comment here that says, I was at a job today, looked through the garbage bag, found a shutoff valve and a 1/2-inch pipe on it, threw it in my truck.
There you go. That's a gold miner. You know, you gotta find something for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Purpose.
Yeah, I absolutely.
I'm not gonna lie, I bring some stuff home sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I think we all do. I think we bring a little bit of this, a little bit of that home when we figure out, well, it ain't gonna work for this project, and then you kind of set it to the side, and you know, a year from now, it gets back into what you're using and what you need to use, and there you go.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Let's stuff.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. We got another funny one here. I'm in construction. Don't tell my digging crews this info. I tell them to keep digging. LOL. 1 yard, 2, 3, just keep going.
Well, you probably have some really strong men out there, young and full of testosterone and everything, and really swinging that pick and shovel. So good for you. Yeah. You're getting good labor out of it.
That is absolutely funny. So the thing that I want to say before we jump on the 5-minute bathroom break here is what we were taught. The subject we were talking about with Alan and with Crux prospecting. With the material that we were running over in Montana, it took 3 grown men to get through a full yard. We're talking 40-ish buckets, 40-ish 5-gallon buckets to get through my Beast Eater, 12 by 36. I mean, the thing's a beast. Plenty of water, plenty of distribution throughout the whole thing. And it took a full day just to get through probably a yard and a half.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say a full yard and a half. I'd say probably a full yard and probably 3 or 4 or 5-gallon buckets, and we were all done. They're like, "Yep, nope, we're done."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I agree. Yeah.
So it depends on the material. First and foremost, like Alan said, it depends on the material. If you have something that's soft, obviously get down to the bedrock. If you have something like caliche material that's only a foot down, you don't have to worry about too much. But it all depends on the material.
Right.
That's huge. Most people think that the new guys, the modern day gold rush in 2023 is like, oh well, I shouldn't have to dig more than a foot down, and I'll find some nuggets. That's not the case. It all depends.
It's that easy.
It depends on the material. That's the reality of it. If it was that easy, everybody would be millionaires right now. That's the reality of it. That's why guys spend $7,000 on a metal detector in their area because it's all nugget ridden. I mean, it all depends on the material that you have in your area, and if you need more of a discussion to figure out what you need for the material in your area, prospecting buddy, boom. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Pop a question in there. You have more than enough guys probably in your area to tell you what you need for the dirt you're running. I shit you not.
Well, and the other thing you have to look at, especially when you're hobby prospecting, like most of us are, is that it's like going fishing. Okay, you go out and you buy a bunch of tackle and equipment and a boat and all that.
The whole works.
Yeah, and so you got like 20, 30 grand wrapped up into it. You go out to wherever and catch a $20 fish.
Yep.
And so it's the same thing.
Well, and that's the thing too is the better you get at fishing, the better fish you get.
Right. You know where those secret places are.
The honey holes.
The right angle, the lures, whatever you're using, the bait, stuff like that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like any other hobby. The more you work into it and enjoy it and appreciate it, the better you get at it. Yep. On fishing, and I was going to go into the break, but now you brought up fishing, Alan. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. That was the thing with the whole fishing situation. I didn't know what I was doing. I bought a Walmart reel. Had no clue. Bought a bunch of tackle that smelled like shit. Didn't care. You know what? Whatever. Balled it all up. Put it on the hook. Threw it out in whatever water I possibly could. Couldn't catch a damn thing for probably the first year.
Yeah.
And then I started learning and understanding. Okay, well, this is what's in this lake. This is what. And it's the same thing with gold prospecting. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. Okay, well, I need to grab my stream sluice and this pan and that pan. And okay, well, this doesn't have any gold bearing in it. So let's go to a different place and vice versa. I mean, the more you put into it, the better results you're going to get. That's the reality of it. So
being consistent, being consistent, keep at it. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. And we will all find our individual niches that we like. Some like detecting, some like dry washing, some like doing what I do or whatever, or some people like dredging, So it's all,
Well, and that's what I love about the dredging, Alan. That's what I love about the dredging situation. I've had a couple of different guys that I've been watching for probably about 2, 3, 4 years, roughly, since PB has been born. They in the beginning, they're like, yeah, I'd love to have a dredge. I really can't afford it, yada, yada, yada. Now they're up to a 4-inch dredge and like, yeah, I'm, getting nuggets and pickers. And I'm like, yeah, see, it's like that guy sitting on the balcony, like, yeah, okay, you know what you're doing now. You know what I mean? It's a good humbling feeling to see.
And there's folks out there in Indiana and places like that dredging back east and all that. I know that's kind of Rob's territory back there. Yeah, and they're nailing it. They are. Joe Brickner, great gold out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
North
Joe-
Carolina and places. Jeez.
Oh yeah, Michigan. I mean, it's funny because a lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, gold belt over there. Oh, they're probably slim pickings."
You wouldn't
Well,
think it.
yeah, you wouldn't think, but in reality, the more you try to have something happen, repetitious cycles of finding good ground back east, you're going to find the gold. You're going to find what's been left for hundreds and hundreds of years. You're going to find it the more you work at it.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do our 5-minute break real quick. And then we're going to get into some hot topics, some good hot topics.
All right. Let's do it.
with what Alan got going on in his future endeavors and a couple things aside from that. So with that being said, let's go into our 5-minute break and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Y'all come back now.
Great northern wilderness, adventure awaits in remarkable ways.
Yahoo!
Guys are not gonna believe this. Bigfoot stole my sluice. I'm serious.
Some things in life's adventures are unbelievable, except the gold recovery in a dream mat. Come check out our online store for all your Bigfoot Sluice adventure gear.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. We took our little quick 5-minute break. That way I could use the restroom. Don was giving me a little bit of crap. Don was sitting here telling me, oh, well, where's your pee bucket? Well, guess what, buddy? That's not the way the world works these days. It is the modern day and age, and I have to go and use the porcelain throne. With that being said, good to have you guys back. Appreciate everybody here. Wow, we actually we got quite a bit of people here. Dan Zoller, the Canadian Hillbilly. Geez,
Yeah.
Cottonwood Trails Gold Camp, Mr. Jim McIntyre.
Frank Higgins jumping in.
Now we got the whole building in here tonight. Good deal.
Yeah, I see all the feed coming off my phone here. So
It gets to be a fun one, I tell you what. He says, giving you crap, no pun intended, right? That's true. Unfortunately, I didn't have a number 2. That rhymed. See, that was good.
that helps the lighting a little bit. Yeah.
Lighten the load, right?
Yeah, well, it's getting dark outside, so the sunlight coming through the window is no longer effective. So now we got to go to LED and incandescent lighting. So.
I like how smooth your chair travels there.
I was going to say, it's like a smooth transition. You must have a little rubber mat underneath it.
Sliding across the floor.
It's hardwood floor, yeah. So I'm just in my computer office here, and so this one of our bedrooms that we converted to a big office. So we got my wife and I have desks on each side, so we can roll around.
Yeah, it's the same here, actually. It's funny because my wife actually so what's funny is we had our kid December 29th, Jaron Jr., big fatty. Love that kid to death. But she works from home at a credit union, and so I had to actually compact my studio for her to be able to work from home on that section. Right. And I said, as long as I have my good like 10 by 10, we're good.
We're good.
She's like, well, how about a 10 by 8? I'm like, okay, fine, 10 by 8. So I kind of scooted it over a little bit more, and that's all you get. You don't get no more. That's it. That's all she wrote. Oh, all right.
So let's get into some hard-hitting questions here.
Yeah. So first and foremost, with the Gold Rattler, this is going to be kind of a sensitive topic, but a good one at that, and it's still extremely positive. So when you did decide to come out with the Gold Rattler, you were talking in social media, YouTube, things like that, and you came out with what you have that's viable for desert prospecting. Yeah. What was some of the backlash that you got from it, or who? I wouldn't say who specifically, but in general, what was some of the backlash you got from it? Was it? Well,
I'm not trying to think what backlash. I really haven't, honestly. I mean, I always have people who are interested. Some are skeptical, and so I try to explain things a little more in depth for whatever aspect or concern they have. But most of it's been resoundingly
positive.
Yeah,
positive.
I mean, I have some friends that rub me and joke with me and stuff like that about it. But in fact, a couple of friends, I break for Bedrock. I have fun with them. They're another YouTubers, and so we met the other day. In fact, we met at the Amber event and stuff, and we had a great time. But because they're big into metal detecting, and they have a really nice dry washing system that they're running a tractor and running material through and stuff like that. So we go back and forth and have fun. Because I remember they found me on my channel, and so we've been kind of back and forth ever since and friends. So yeah.
Oh, so it's just a friendly, fun kind of situation. So that's good. I mean, I have not heard a single thing about anything negative with the Gold Rattler. I mean, the invention speaks for itself. I mean, they're the only negative thing that I can think about is folks not making enough money from their 9-to-5 to go and get one ASAP. That's the only that's the only.
Well, let me tell you what's in the future. Okay, for those who can't afford a Gold Rattler, this is another thing besides what we talked about earlier. Is that we're going to have a rent-a-rattler. So we're going to have
that's awesome,
Route 66, a couple of places in key areas for what, $200-$400 a weekend. You rent a Rattler and we supply you with all your stuff, and you go out and hit the gold.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so,
Cool.
you know, and we're even thinking about, you know, a rent to own plan. Okay. So you rent it X amount of time for the year, and maybe you can then, you know, and of course you've used it. So maybe you're buying the used product and everything. So it's just like buying a rent a car from the car rental place at the airport. You know, it'd be on the same kind of lines. So we're looking at doing that in the future too. So for those who can't fork out the, you know, 45, 5,000, whatever it's going to cost, you know, somewhere in that ballpark.
That is an absolutely phenomenal idea, because there's a lot of folks that actually go around traveling and they don't want to have a full-blown setup. They want something that they can go and enjoy for a weekend.
Yeah.
And pay a small denomination and, you know, be able to bring gold home.
Right. Our thoughts was to even make it more encouraging is we set up the Rent a Rattler and we send them out with an ice chest full of steaks and beer and, you know, go out and have a good time.
You know what? In fact, I will take you up on that, because steaks and beer is my forte.
Yeah. My flight's already booked, so.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He's coming down. Here we go.
I was going to say, I mean.
That's the other thing out in the future. I was kind of hoping, but, you know, COVID kind of screwed it up a little bit. I was going to have like a Gold Rattler camp. So people can come out to the claim, you know, especially those who are serious about purchasing a Gold Rattler,
right?
And get first hands-on experience and setting it up, feeding it, running it, looking at all the particulars, so they can fully understand what it's like, you know. And of course, that's sort of my thing, is taking the Gold Rattler on the road to different events so people can have that same experience. You know? So
another question would be, so first and foremost, when do you plan on that becoming a reality? As far as being able to rent the equipment out, when can folks that are watching, when can folks actually look forward to being able to do that?
To rent a Rattler, I would probably speculate it's going to be a couple of years. Right now, I'm just trying to get all the logistics going to create a company, you know, and I'm learning how to do SolidWorks, which is a 3D CAD program, so I can send a lot of the parts to sheet metal shops for fabrication.
Yeah.
So it saves me a lot of time and labor.
Oh yeah, you can have 50 made or 100 made in one surplus.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and then I'm dealing, because a lot of the components, I won't lie, come from China. You know, so we're dealing with that, and China, you know, with the COVID and all that other garbage. You know, they're trying to get things ramped up, but you know, it's a little dicey. And then, you know, the Chinese are saber rattling against Taiwan, so that makes it a little, you know.
Well, that and trying to do American made. I mean, I love America, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But with certain circumstances, the price point kind of goes up, and as a distributor or manufacturer, it's tough to keep those products in America. I mean, everybody can sit here and scream from the rooftops, "Oh yeah, American made," blah 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 blah. But the reality of it is, with the way that the economy is, it's kind of tough as a manufacturer to keep products here if the prices are too high per piece. That's the reality of it.
Well, here's the interesting thing, is that I can buy a lot of the components here in the U.S., but the people who are selling it to me get it from China. So why don't I just go to China and get it myself? It's save the middleman, you know. And so, unfortunately,
well, and you have to add that. Sorry to cut you off, Alan, but you have to add that to your price point.
Yes, exactly.
You have to add that to what you're selling that unit for. Yeah. Most people don't understand that, and I want to express that big time. Is most people don't understand that if you're going to pay a little bit more of a premium to keep it in the United States of America, that price point that they're paying as a manufacturer is going to go to your bottom dollar for you paying for that unit.
Yeah,
exactly. It's not, we're not eating the cost. You're not, we can't, or else there's nothing to be made of it. Then we're giving it away.
Most of the stuff is made in here in the U.S., like the fabricators that are going to need to do all the sheet metal and ironworks and stuff like that. So I would say a good portion of the wash plant is made, but you got to have those little to make it. And also because the scale, you know, the scale of the product, you don't see this in this kind of situation, you know, hobby prospecting and all that. Now, if you go to the big commercial, you know, oil and drill and gas and coal industry, yeah, they use these things all the time, all this equipment, no big deal. But they're, you know, the size of a house too, you know. So you're not going to toe that
Yeah,
out.
it's a fine gray line with that. And I mean, personally, and Arrow would say it, as well, is we want to keep everything in America as we can. Yeah. Every single thing we need to.
It's getting harder and harder to do that. I mean, if I order a pipe, if I order black iron for a gas job at work, unless I specify American made, and just so you know, that does include Britain.
That includes 2 other countries, but yeah. Keep going.
I'm getting Chinese black iron, or I'm getting Indonesian black iron, and like you were saying, the price point's higher. Same thing with copper.
Yep.
I mean, most ABS and PVC is made here, so I don't have to worry about that. But anything involving metals or technologies or anything like that, unless you specify.
Well, and you guys,
you're not going to get American made generally.
Well, and that's what I'm doing too. I'm being very critical about where your metals are coming from, because if you're just going to get, cheap China junk, your quality is just going to go downhill. You can't, this is so
that's the reality of it. That's the reality of it. That's the problem.
Oh, right. And how does that impact? How does that impact the mining industry itself?
Big time.
I mean,
because why? Why?
So
because
whenever.
Why? Sorry, go for it, Arrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've said this before, but
go for it.
All these people who are coming down on mining and greenies and all that stuff, what they don't realize what they're saying is they just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Well, I got a couple
when
comments.
They say that, right? But when they say that, and that's what they don't know they mean, they also aren't doing what they're claiming, because now they're putting unregulated mining at the forefront, and the regulated mining, we don't want to see it. It's just ugly.
Right.
So I'm fine with all the purple and green water in China making my stuff.
So for the folks that are watching on their TV with their kiddos and things like that, as you guys know, digging deeper, we kind of get a little deeper. Our social media presence, we obviously keep very subliminal and make sure that we don't have anything that's nasty, no cuss words, things like that. Digging Deeper podcast is a little different. We're raw and unfiltered. And the reason being is because we really want to make sure that the folks that are watching knows exactly what's going on with the guests we have, the products that are being brought to the table, things like that. We have a few comments. I'm not going to say all the goodies on those, but I appreciate the comments. This China America make America great again. China crap is garbage. All my firearms made in America. I agree with you guys 100%.
Yeah.
Like we're trying to say, we can go into a whole different discussion. There's no point in this, because we're buckled down to the prospecting and mining community, trying to make things better for us, right? But what I'm
go ahead.
Go for it, Alan.
Materials that I'm getting, I'm speccing out myself. So I mean, a lot of these companies are from the U.S. that are in China making this stuff anyway.
Yep.
So it's to American standards, and so you just have to be careful you're not getting a knockoff, and that's the key, is not getting something like that. So all the devices that I use are inspected, so that way we know we're getting the quality stuff instead of some.
Well, we got a comment here from a good guy in the PB family, Brandon Kowalski. You can slap me later, brother. He says, my kids watch with me, and that's the biggest thing is we're trying to make sure that we don't have anything that's too crazy for your kiddos to be able to hear, right? And with this whole situation on this topic and this podcast, we're going to keep it very PG, because it can always go haywire. Anybody talking about America and China, things like that, it can always go haywire.
Yeah.
But we would like to specifically touch on the basis of China made and America made. The biggest factor before we jump to the next topic is this, and I'll leave it at this, is prospectors and miners that we all know and love, we all appreciate, we all enjoy, we spend time, we cook food and eat food with each other, drink a couple beers with each other, we go and sleep in our RVs and our tents, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, we enjoy and appreciate each other's time, no matter if that piece is made from China or America.
Right.
At the end of the day, we'd all love to have everything American made. That's just not the case in today's day and times.
Sadly, yeah.
Sadly, yeah, it's just not the case in today's day and times. But at the end of the day, we all appreciate each other. We love each other. And no matter what equipment we have that we could afford, because we live a 9 to 5 or a whatever graveyard shift, that's what we can afford. That's what we can use for when we're out and appreciating each other's company.
Well,
So at the end of the day,
all your appliances at home, your cars and all that kind of stuff.
we
components that come from foreign countries.
We can go in, we can go into further discussions with what we have in our house and things like that. But at the end of the day, what is it all about? It's about memories. We all have one life to live, not 2, not 3, not 4. We have one. And so at the end of the day, yes, we'd all love as Americans to have American-made things. Mm-hmm. And if you can find things in your life that is American-made that you could pay a little bit more for, to be prideful of that, then I appreciate every single one of you to go and do that. Because personally, myself, I try to do the best I can. I only have a certain amount of income I get paid every single year. Right. So, if I can cut corners on some things and other things I can't, then that's the way the world works. But as far as what we're talking about with Alan and the Gold Rattler, let's get back on discussion and topic. I told you, Alan, it was going to get sour, my man. I told you.
Brandon's here writes about his kids. A 5-year-old talks like a sailor. So, okay.
Well, my kids do. My kids too. I got an 11-year-old and I got a 5-year-old, and they talk like a sailor too. And we do the best we can as parents, but we love them the way they are. They're molded in their own little shape and conform, and we love our kids the way they are.
But what I'll tell you is that the Gold Rattler is going to be made in America for sure. Depending, so at least it's all going to be put together here. So
he's like, my sweat, blood, and tears is going to be on every single Gold Rattler.
Yeah.
Every nut and bolt you see on that Gold Rattler will have some kind of sweat from me.
That's right.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Probably too, because I cut myself on it occasionally.
So you get a souvenir while you're at it. No, I absolutely love it. We have tons of comments here. We're going to go through some more hot topics, and then we have a giveaway to do.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We have, Chris. I love you, Chris. Jeez Louise. Vendetta Prospecting, Miller's Prospecting Santa Sack. Well, it's clearly not Christmas, so I don't know where this came from. Artisanal small batch pay dirts made in Arizona. Alan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how that happened, but it seemed to make our way on our podcast. So that's absolutely phenomenal. We also have something else. If anybody was watching the post, what do we have to give away, Arrow? What do we have
to give away? Well, we got, I don't know, are we doing any Dream Mat stuff? We got the surprise pay dirt.
There you go, Vendetta Prospecting. Yep.
We have a couple of gold backs. And then we have the super prize. If you don't remember what I told you, then you're done. You're done.
Yeah, you notice when he says I told you, he just asked me what was just given to him. So we'll go with that standard of measure.
No, we just so happen to have 8x35-inch sluice with the Vortex Dream Mat, Bigfoot series from Dave and Tim. Good guys over there. They're doing fun stuff over there. They're awesome guys. They have a lot of fun stuff going on. So we do have a Bigfoot sluice to give away. That's going to be the grand prize for this evening. Nice. For everybody watching, tuning in. We have 51 members on StreamYard, 52. I don't know how many we have over here. I'm trying to keep track. 439 comments on Facebook. I'm giving my all, guys. I can't
just
do it.
Rolling, yeah.
I'm trying my little heart out. We got 3 mods trying to go through comments. They're having a tough time pulling their hairs out. So, but anyway, so let's get back to a couple more of the more stricter comments and hits, runs, errors, concerns that I was having with the Gold Rattler. So we're going to do 3 more, and then we'll do some giveaways, have some fun with it. First out of the 3, as far as the Gold Rattler itself, you have patents pending.
Yep.
How much more of an investment, if you'd like to speak on it, if not, no worries. how much more of an investment do you see yourself putting into to make this thing commercial versus, 1, 2, 3 kind of deal?
One-off. Yeah. Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah. It's going to be just to get off the ground. Okay. Well, let me start this way. Since I introduced the Gold Rattler, okay, and even talked about it in my video, and I'm thinking a price point of about 4,500, somewhere in that ballpark. Haven't
Right.
settled on it for sure. I currently have 40 people waiting to buy it.
Wow.
Yeah, and because I was expecting a quarter of that,
Wow.
So yeah, so now I'm having to up my game. So my goal is to build 20 wash plants on the first shot, okay, on the first round, to satisfy those customers. Figure some are going to drop out, so you're going to, you have some people that can't buy it, but the other
15,
people, that number
15.
keeps growing. So I'm probably looking close to about $30,000 to $40,000 and keeping things at very low key and keeping
Minimum basis.
way down
Right.
to get this thing rolling. And then once, fortunately where I'm at, I have a lot of land. I have resources to large steel sheds and garages and stuff like
Right.
that. So we can, and I have friends, so we can kind of portion it out to make it all happen. So you're not renting a building and dealing with,
Trying to figure out prices and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, till we get rolling. And then once we get it off the ground, then we'll move into a big commercial shop, just like everything else, and get rolling. And then we can really start mass producing even larger quantities if the market dictates that. So.
Well, another question I wanted to ask you is, I don't want to put generic names out there with websites and things like that, but is there a specific website where you can acquire funds? Have you looked into something like that to where you can acquire the funds to make that thing happen? I'm not going to put specific websites out there because there's no reason for it, but generically speaking,
I can always get investors and stuff like that, but I know I can handle it myself. I'm good.
Oh,
yeah. And so it's it's like any other kind of investment risk that you take.
Yeah. You always have that error ratio where you have to decide whether you have that factor point to make it happen yourself or get to a point where you have to hire on additional people to be able to make that happen.
Yeah, and if the business dictates, in other words, I've done other businesses. I've built observatory domes for telescopes. I've made other equipment, aircraft, and stuff like that. So I kind of have a rough idea about how this is all going to happen,
what you need, how it needs to make.
Yeah. So and I see there's definitely a need. I see the feedback. So initial feedback of it and stuff like that. Yeah,
he says there's definitely a need. Alan, there's more than a need, dude. it's more than a need. There's more than a need at this point. You already need to be producing these things, making it happen.
Yeah. So it's going to take, I am hoping to start production somewhere in mid-24. I thought I would be maybe producing it by this coming summer, but ain't going to happen. No. There's a lot more things, and like they say, and getting some of the materials happening, and like I say, trying to get everything worked up through SolidWorks on the 3D CAD program.
There's more things that we can fit into our bucket.
Exactly. Plus, I work a full-time job. Okay.
Yep.
So, and in the medical field, I'm working sometimes long.
That's
hours.
tough. 50,
exactly.
55, 60 hours. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I am retiring next year, so then I can then just pull full tilt into the Gold Rattler.
Ooh, this guy.
Yeah. So
with everybody watching,
to taste it.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get all the logistics worked out, trying to get everything to kind of come together. So that way, when I do step away from the job, I can step right into this and just bang, start rolling.
Full blown.
Yeah.
So for everybody watching, Alan will be retired next year. So blow his phone up every day of the week.
Yeah. So it's because even today, it was a busy day, and I got home, just barely made it here for the show, and in another hour, it's time to go to bed. So you get 2 or 3 hours to work on stuff, and then that's it.
It's time for bed. Time for your full time. No, I totally get it. I totally understand. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. Oh,
okay.
Go for it, Errol. Yeah, no, go.
I was going to
for it.
say, Bobby Freedom was wondering what kind of VMAT you like to use, or what's the VMAT you use. There's something special about it, or
it's a secret. No, no, it's actually it's made by a guy. His name is Sean Dilley. He lives in California, and it's we call it the Pickle Puss mat. And what this is it's a set of specialized stacked V matting, and he engineered it as such that the way the water flows over at a certain velocity and volume, that there's certain we call a reverse oscillation characteristics in this mat. What this means is that it causes the gold to really drop down and stay dropped versus the lighter material flows
aggravates, aggravates the lighter material.
But if you look at my sluice, go to the Gold Rattler, watch the Gold Rattler sluice in action and all that, you'll see it. You'll see how that water is just dancing over those riffles, just fiercely flopping over. Gold cannot stand in that. It has to drop out.
Right.
And so I proved that by the first initial Gold Rattler video, where I take the mat out and I clean it off in 5 different sections to show the deposit of gold. And of course, the last section on the mat, the last 3 riffles or whatever, there's no gold, none. That shows you. I mean, you can brag. They say, well, you can get 98% efficiency. I can almost say I can get 100. Without I can smile, but I won't say that. But then you go to the next section and you get a few little micro dots in there, like little nano dots. And then you move up to the 3rd section. Now you're starting to see a little bit more fine stuff, like 100 mesh gold, 150 mesh gold. And then when you roll up to the last 2 riffles, of course, the last set of riffles, that's where the bonanza is at. So Chris, that's what you want. You want a system that maximizes recovery of all your visible gold. So this mat, I don't take the credit for, because Sean made it, and but we are in the process of building an extrusion mold, so that way we can build them more faster, so we can put them in the system and also be able to sell them.
That is too funny. We actually had a comment here that says, don't tell anybody about that damn mat. And then we had another one that just came in that said,
it's probably Sean.
And then we just had another one. I'm trying to find it here. Dang it. There's so many comments going on. Dang it. LOL, new secret mat, way better than the other mats out there until the next mat comes along. Sunny Rico. I love it. That is too funny.
Well,
absolutely.
Sean does sell these mats. He's just kind of small time, and
that's where it starts, Alan.
Small time, yeah. We're all inventors. We're all trying to make it work. So what I appreciate is that when I see that I'm maximizing the recovery on my system, which is critical when you're trying to run tailings of somebody else's, you want to get all that fine gold, because that's what adds up. The stuff they missed. So you got a machine that can do that. That's the key. Now everybody can get nuggets. That's a no-brainer. Everybody can get pickers. Again, no-brainer.
Oh yeah.
But the key is to be able to find the fine stuff, and also process what I call surfboard nuggets. Surfboard nuggets are paper-thin, flat nuggets that just float right off the surface. With this reverse oscillation, especially in clear water, you can watch it. These surfboard nuggets just dive like how the wave press over a surf.
When it has that surface tension,
all that,
that minus surface tension, it'll dive and just
go right down there, and it'll get caught in one of the V riffle sections, and you'll watch it migrate retrograde to the flow, and then park itself up against the back wall.
And it won't move the whole entire time, because that water that's actually moving is actually forcing it to stay in its place.
Yeah,
it's exciting to watch.
It doesn't accumulate a lot of black sand, because that's the other problem, is that if you got a system that's collecting gold, well, it's going to collect black sand. So there's that really narrow window in which the black sand can get removed and the gold stay. And this seems to work really well. In fact, I purposely have let the machine run for a half an hour just without running any material through it. Just let the water just run through it, let it flow and all that. It freaks people out because it cleans the black sand. I mean, to the point that your cons are almost in a handful, like, holding in your hand.
Right.
And people are looking at that and it's full of gold, and there's
it blows my mind. It blows my mind just 5 to 10 years ago. And we all know this, just 5 to 10 years ago, you had a half a 5-gallon bucket of black sands to go through.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're running it like an 852 sluice or something of that caliber, in those big riffles.
Oh, yeah. And you're going through the black sand for hours and hours and hours. In fact, you get to the point where you're like, you know what? My 8-year-old kid can go through this. Find the gold for me, because you just give up. You're like, I'm done.
The amusing thing about the Gold Rattler is to watch the material coming off the dewatering shaker deck on the bottom, because it's separating, and you see this black rolling off, which is the black sand that you're running through. And then you look at the tailing pile that's developing on the bottom on the ground there, and it's these black piles mixed with red.
And it doesn't go through that mesh. That's what blows my mind. You have your vibrating motors at a 45.
Yeah.
And then you have your slate deck like that. And so what it's doing is it's pushing like this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's doing this kind of thing for the material. So the water's going down and the material is going up and down, up and down, up and down, all the way off.
Yeah, the water goes down, the material floats to the top. Yeah. And so actually what happens theoretically in the physics behind it is that even the finer material floats up. So let's say I have 150 mesh. Well, particles that are even finer, say like 200, 250 mesh, also float up to the top too. So not even that drops through. So there's a good, 30 to 50% of that material going out too, besides the 150.
It's forcing itself, and it's in an upward motion like this, and it just like that the whole entire time until it goes off of that screen. It's like I said, I picked it through with a fine-tooth comb on your video probably like 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, I got to find something that I can dig in with him. But the everything that's all the placements on everything is just, it blows my mind. It's actually a really phenomenal invention for
it comes from building airplanes and telescopes.
It's cool. I am sold. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm sold. It's there's
the other key thing behind it is that the dewatering deck took literally 6 months of my life to build. Literally, I mean, every waking minute, I can't tell you.
You're talking about the third deck.
It was
separates the water from the minute materials.
What's that?
You're talking about the water that separates from the minute materials from the bottom deck.
Yeah, the bottom deck, the dewatering deck.
Yeah.
To make that work is a beast. Okay. And if you don't do it right, it won't work at all. And there's a lot of things going on that you can't see. It looks real simple, but there's a lot of stuff going on that you can't see. You can't see certain physics that are happening that make that thing work. And there's and the other key is there's no data out there on how to build one. You can look on YouTube. You can watch dewater decks run all day long by the commercial manufacturers.
I've never seen a dual vibration motors on a dewater deck with them slanted at 45 degrees and still allow the substrates to go through to an exit and the water to go through submesh. I've never seen that.
Isn't that
never?
Wild? It's the wildest thing. I agree. It's
I've seen the most crazy shit, Alan. Excuse my language, everybody watching and your children. I'm sorry, but
PG.
I've never seen something quite like it, and so it really screws with my brain on how that actually works and allowing you to really get that water down.
You're not the only one that sees that.
Oh, I'm sure there's many more besides me, but it just
people scratch their heads over. Yeah, there's a lot of components that you almost have to, in some ways, have to. Newton's second law of motion for every action there's equal opposite reaction. You almost have to defy that in order for this thing to work, and that's one of the hardest things to do. And
Yeah,
once
well,
you
with the weight
accomplish
of the
that,
material, with the
yeah,
weight of the material, displacement of the weight of water. Yeah.
yeah, you have to it's all calibrated into that
Yep.
to make it happen. And yeah, everything has to be set up just right. And and you don't see that. And again, like I say, the data on how to build one doesn't exist.
No.
It's almost like the commercial manufacturers won't tell you. And I've inquired. I called them up and emailed them and all that. They won't give you a clue. And but they'll show you videos all day long on how it works.
Yep.
So, but it wasn't until I actually found a Chinese report and was able to translate it that helped me find the edge. And then later on, I went to the Mine Expo, and this is a couple of years in September here in Las Vegas, and I ran into an engineer that makes these things. And so we sat down and had a little lunch and chatted for about an hour. And because he already saw what I've created. And
that was lucky. That was lucky there.
Yeah, it gave me a whole bunch of other little points that just made the difference.
Yeah, made it tick. Tick.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a lucky chance
and,
meeting.
And so I'm just kind of
No, I mean with something like that, I mean, it takes precise skills to allow the water to disperse away from such light materials in such a quick manner. Yep. That's something that most of us miners and prospectors, we can't wrap our head around. That's the reality of it, because at the end of the day,
that's the key to make this whole thing work.
Yeah, 100%.
The whole thing to sluice in the desert, but you do have to bring more equipment out. There's no doubt about it. Compared to like a dry washer, you're like 4 times the equipment almost.
Yeah, but it makes a difference. If you bring, a couple of guys out there, you can run through some material
exactly
in a day or in 3 days time and actually come out ahead.
Serious gold. You really can. Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do the giveaway real quick, and then we'll jump off here. That way, Alan, you can get some sleep, my man, because I know you got a job to get to. So let's go ahead and do some giveaways real quick. First and foremost, Chris Hayes. I'm going to give you so much crap, Chris Hayes. I'm going to give him so much crap in the group growth and improvement chat. I tell you what, this guy just jumped in here into the studio. Just wow, holy moly. So first and foremost, let's go ahead and give this Vendetta Prospecting Miller's Prospecting Santa Sack Gold Added 0.25 gram artisanal small batch pay dirts made in Arizona. Miller's Prospecting. I think I've heard of them. So what we'll do is we'll do a name wheel. And in fact, instead of Arrow naming off the names, we're going to have Mr. Allen, our good friend, name off the names. So that way Arrow doesn't get so much flack, because usually it's me or Arrow that names off the names and we get flack pronouncing the names. So we're going to actually put Allen.
Pretty good.
We're going to put Allen in the pool, man, and we'll get some names from him. So
what am I? So you want me to draw a name out of everybody here who's
So what I'll do, are you attached to the StreamYard comments? Are you attached?
Yeah, I'm looking at it on my phone here. I can see all the chatter that's going on and stuff.
Okay, so what is your main? So are you going off of StreamYard comments, Facebook comments, or YouTube comments?
It looks like I'm on Facebook here. Yeah,
Facebook. Okay, so what we'll do then, we'll use Arrow as the guy this evening. StreamYard typically mashes it all in. So we have all the names through StreamYard with Facebook and YouTube combined. Some of these folks don't have StreamYard. Clearly, he says, I don't have StreamYard.
I'm watching all the feeds. So the feed is happening. Like here's Dallas Edwards with a send hugs stamp and all that. So
we'll do then, what we'll do, Alan, you name off, I'll put a comment in there. And then all the names below that comment, you just start popping the names off, and I'll put them in the name wheel. Sound good?
All right. So you're gonna name it off, and then I'm gonna grab the names then.
Yep. I'm gonna put a sound off, and then we'll get the names, and then you start naming all the names out loud, so I can hear it in my headphones and put it into the name wheel, and then we'll rock and roll. All right, so I'm going to put in hashtag for everybody watching. I'm going to put hashtag sound off. Second I put that comment in, you guys can see on YouTube and Facebook, the second I press enter on this bad boy, put your name in there. Everything after hashtag sound off, Alan, go ahead and announce the names. That being said, 3, 2, 1, let's go. There it is. Sound off.
So the sound is off. Okay. And so now
He says sound is off.
now everybody said put listening messages. So I can speak now, right?
No, there's no sound off. Oh, you crack me up, geez Louise. Yeah, so go ahead and start popping the names there. You see them, Alan? Go ahead and start saying them, and I'll put
Raymond Corres, Dallas Edwards, and Joseph.
Too fast. My fingers can't go as fast, buddy.
Okay. Well, they're repeating it, so they're hitting the repeat button. So
no repeats. All right, let's do it. Jody Woodrow, next one.
Okay. How about Larry Hayes?
Larry Hayes, got it.
Okay. Dallas Edwards,
got it.
Raymond Corres,
got it.
And let's see here. I said Bobby Frieda. We also have where is here? I saw Tina in here somewhere. Yeah, there's Tina Williams. There she is.
Okay.
Yep. Nicholas Lewis, Fred Messimer.
Nicholas Lewis, Fred. Okay.
Jay Wells.
Okay.
David Osterberg.
David Osterberg. What's up, brother man? Okay.
So we got Dallas Edwards, Joseph Knowlton.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got Rick Stash. Did we get Rick Stash? I don't think so.
Nope. We have him now.
Oh, we don't have to put Rick in. He doesn't need it.
No, we got him.
We got a couple of people that haven't published a lot. Like there's a Jay Wells. Okay.
Yep.
And there's a Jeff Voigt, Voigt.
Voigt. Okay.
Yeah. How about Larry Hayes? There's one. Larry Hayes. Yep. Yep.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and.
Here, did we get Chris Q?
Well, what I'm going to do, Arrow, is I'm going to have you jump on the Facebook side of things and get some names into the wheel of names, and we can rock from there. So go ahead. Go for it, Arrow.
And then you're going to randomly generate the winner then.
Yep. We have a name wheel that randomly spins. We click on it. We ask for a drum roll. We get drum rolls in the comment section from the emojis, and then bam, we get a winner for each prize. We're going to try to make this happen in the next 15 minutes to end the podcast this evening. So Arrow, I'm going to name off the names, and then if you remember the names that I named off, then you skip those. So we got Jody Woodrow, Larry Hayes, Dallas Edwards, Raymond Corres, Tina Williams, Nicholas Lewis, Fred Messimer, Jay Wells, David Osterberg, Joseph Knowlton, Rick Stass, and Jeff Voigt.
We got Joshua Christensen.
Okay.
Chris Q.
Okay.
Did Nick Lewis get in there? Nicholas Lewis?
Yep.
Don Went.
Okay. No, Don, we already talked this evening, bro. You're already part of the PB family. You don't get no more giveaways. Next one.
I didn't do that. Don.
Yes, he did.
I see a few more names that are popping up here too.
Yeah, go ahead and let them be known. Let me hear them. Go for it, Alan.
I'm seeing like Philip Berry.
Okay.
Jeremiah Farmstad, Farmstad.
Okay.
Michael Schmidt.
Okay.
Steve Taro, Tero.
Steve Taro. Okay.
And then I see a Keith Raup, and I just happen to know that name because I have a friend named Jason Raup, Roupp.
Got Keith in there.
Any relation there, Keith? Yep. Michael Tomash, 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 something like that.
Tomash. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, I'm seeing. I'm sorry if I missed you guys. I'm just kind of skimming down here. I apologize if I.
Yeah, whatever you see, let's make it happen. Arrow, what do you got, bud?
Okay.
Well, we got chicks with picks in Australia. So
chicks with picks
there
from
we go.
Australia. All right, you guys are in the building.
Here watching.
Oh, I love it. Okay, chicks with picks Australia. You're in for the giveaway. All right, who we got, Aaron?
Gold Rattler, dealership down there someday.
Yes, most definitely. No, I'm actually in good connection with her. The funny thing is me and her collaborated on making sure we got a logo situated for Chicks with Picks over there in Australia.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. There's Stephen Bertrand. I don't know who that guy is.
All right, who do we got?
Chris Tinsley.
Last name, please.
Tinsley, Tinsley.
Okay.
We got Stephen Deerdorf. We get him in there.
Stephen Deerdorf. Okay.
Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson in the building. Okay.
I see Lisa Starrett. ST.
Say that one more time, first to last.
Lisa, and the last name is STERRETT.
Okay, Starrett. Lisa Starrett. Okay.
Did you put Bobby Freedom in there?
Steve Bertrand says don't enter me.
He's part of the PV fam. He's part of the moderators. You don't get to win anything anymore, unfortunately.
Hey, how about I just want to put a little plug out there to all the admins that are on PB, because I joined this channel when Steve kind of offered me it to join up, and it was only 300 people on this channel, and now look at this thing. Just awesome. And you guys are all just doing a fantastic job supporting this group. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, and we all appreciate it big time. Thank you.
Yeah,
we really do.
Awesome.
Yeah, we really do. The biggest thing is continuing to have this community grow what it's becoming. I mean, PB is just a side thing on social media. It's nothing that, any of us are just, it's nothing to us, but to you guys making it happen, it's phenomenal. Being able to see the community, what it is, and continuing to grow every single day, day in and day out, and seeing all the posts and the fun stuff with the kids being brought into the gold shows and stuff. It's so humbling. It really is.
Love it.
How about, did you get Jan Drake? I think so.
Let's see. Let me go up here. Nope. Jan Drake's in. We're good. Who else?
All right. Michael Crawford, did you get him?
Yep. I got Michael Crawford. He is in.
Michael Tomash is in.
Yep.
All right. Philip Berry.
All right.
You got Philip Berry, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead and expedite this process here. So I'm going to name off the name, guys. We got to kind of expedite the process here. Let's not drag this out any further than it needs to be. I'm going to go ahead and name off names. I'm actually going to, in the Facebook comments, I'm going to put a slash in the Facebook comments, and that's going to be cutoff time. So I'll go ahead and name all the names that are in the name wheel for the giveaways that are coming up. If your name is not in the name wheel after I announce the names and I put the slash in the comment section, then you are no longer entered into the name wheel. We're not trying to be rude. We're just trying to make things happen. So with that being said, I'm going to put the comment in like 2 seconds. I'm going to name off the names though. Jody Woodrow, Larry Hayes, Dallas Edwards, Raymond Corres, Tina Williams, Nicholas Lute. Tina, you can't go in there, you little sneaky. Get out of there. What are you doing? Jeez, Tina, come on. Jody Woodrow, Larry Hayes, Dallas Edwards, Raymond Corres, Nicholas Lewis, Fred Messimer, Jay Wells, David Osterberg, Joseph Knowlton, Rick Stash, Jeff Voigt, Joshua Christensen, Chris Q, Philip Berry, Jeremiah Framstad, Michael Schmidt, Steve Tarot, Keith Roop, Michael Tomash, Chicks with Picks Australia. I know who you are. We're good friends on Facebook. Chris Tinsley, Stephen Deerdorf, Chris Johnson, Lisa Starrett, Bobby Freedom, Jan Drake, and Michael Crawford. If you didn't hear your name, put your name in the YouTube or Facebook section under 10 seconds. I'm going to give a 10-second countdown. If I don't see your name in the 10-second countdown, you are not in the name wheel. So with that being said, we're going to do the 10-second countdown. Arrow, go ahead and do the 10-second countdown while I'm watching the YouTube and Facebook comments, please.
I just want to make sure you got Jason Atkinson.
Give the damn countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7,
Oh, geez,
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last chance, 1. Sold. I don't know. Let's spin this
He
wheel.
says sold. Okay, so anything after those lines is not going to be into the giveaway. All right, so Chris B. Street, we'll put you in there, buddy. Chris B. Street. Let's see who else we got. Rich Dallaby. Rich, I got you in there, buddy. Dallaby. Now, these names are going to be for the next 3 giveaways that we do for this evening, and then we're going to shut the building down.
So Rob said no YouTubers were on that list.
Yeah, I'm watching all of them. Dan Zoller, Kevin Jobert. I got them all. We're good.
Okay, cool.
We're good. I'm watching, guys. I'm watching on the YouTube side of things. You're good. Kevin Jobert, got you, buddy. Let's see who else we got here. Adam Carlson, dude, good friend of mine. Goes over to Montana with me all the time and comes home with either nothing or quite something. So good to see you, bro. Good to see you, that's for sure. All right, so Jim, we got you, buddy. White crispy treats. What is going on there? I don't know what you mean by that, buddy. I love crispy treats. Not gonna lie. Okay, so with that being said, I think we're ready to rock and roll. Kyle King, do we got Kyle King in here? All right, Kyle, I got you in here, buddy.
Rick Stash wants to know if pet names count because his dog likes gold as well.
Oh man, I should probably put my kids' names in there and my wife and all that good stuff too while we're at it. I mean, shit, I'd love to win some of these prizes, right?
Did you get Don? Did you say Brandon Oslo?
Yeah, I got him in there already.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he is already in there. I got Gold Monkey, 1 day off, Western Pennsylvania. I got you, Keith. I got you, Dan. Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Cliff Sommer.
I got all of them. Kyle King, Adam Carlson, Dan Zoller, Kevin. I got all you guys. I made
Cliff
sure to
Sommer.
get Glenn. I got you, buddy. Gold Monkey. Yeah, I got every single one of you. I've been watching the YouTube. I got every single one of you in here.
All right. Well, I'm just asking because he said he didn't hear his name.
Rick says access denied. No, I got everybody in here. Jeff, I got you in here. Mr. Frickin' finding really nice nuggets and not sharing any of it. Come on, dude. Of course I got you in here. All right, with that being said, we do have, like I said, a couple of gold backs, really cool gold backs, actually, as a matter of fact. These things are actually pretty cool. We're going to name off some of the stuff we got real quick, and then we're going to make it happen. So we got some gold backs.
Yep.
We got the Pater, and then we got the Bigfoot Sluice, courtesy of Dave and Tim. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do drum roll. Let's get 5. Go for it, Alan. All right, drum rolls. Let's see them. Come on, guys. YouTube, Facebook. We got one. We got one. Let's go. We got 2 from Raymond.
There we go.
We got 3. We got 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Holy moly. All right. With that being said, let's go ahead and spin this good old wheel here. This is going to be for one of the gold backs. Oh, between Keith Roop and Michael Tomash. Michael Tomash, you're the winner of the gold back. Send me your message.
Congratulations.
Yes, indeed. Send me a message with your address, and we'll get that gold back sent to you, my man. Michael Tomash, winner of the first gold back.
You got Brandon Kowalski in there. Don said we missed him.
No, let me see. Brandon. No, I got Brandon in there. We're good. Yeah.
Okay. There you go, Don. Thanks for delaying the show, buddy.
Yeah, dude. No, we're good. All right. So first gold back. Make sure Mr. Tomash, reach out to me. Send me a personal message. I'll get that bad boy sent to you. All right. Drum rolls. Drum rolls. Drum rolls. Let's go. Yeah. Sorry, Don. My bad. I apologize. Yeah, I should have said it out loud, but I'm kind of trying to do two screens at once, buddy. Trying to make things happen. All right. With that being said, let's see drum rolls. All right. YouTube all over the place. All right. Let's make it happen. Here we go. Second winner of the gold back. Let's do it to it. Who do we got? Who do we got? Who do we got? Mr. Ooh, close to Steven Deerdorf. Chris Tinsley.
Hey,
Chris
go,
Tinsley. You are the winner of the second gold back. Make sure you send me a personal message, one of the mods in PV, and we will get that sent over to you. ASAP preferably. I got a ton of packages I'm trying to send out. I got a ton of these really cool things that I'm trying to send out. So ASAP, the sooner the better. That way we can actually get that package going. With that being said, the third is going to be for Vendetta Prospecting Santa Sack, which is kind of weird because it's close to springtime, but hey, we'll take it. So for the gold pay dirt bag from Vendetta Prospecting, let's get some drum rolls in there. Let's do it to it. Come on, let's see them. Let's see them.
Drum
Come on,
rolls.
let's see 'em,
All
folks.
right.
Drum rolls, drum rolls, drum rolls. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. We got two more on YouTube. Let's do it to it. All right. Mr. Chris Johnson. Chris
Cool.
Johnson just won it.
There you go, buddy.
All right. Chris
Congratulations.
Johnson. Yeah, congratulations. You just won the Vendetta Prospecting Miller Prospecting Santa Sack Gold Added 0.25 grams artisanal small batch pay dirt made in Arizona. All right, Chris Johnson, send a personal message. We'll make it happen, Captain. All right, so with that being said, the final and something that is absolutely phenomenal. So courtesy of Dave and Tim Peterson, they are some of the most phenomenal guys, blue collar. Love them guys to death. We talk on the phone quite a bit, me and Dave. Love the hell out of them guys. Excuse my language. But we talked a little bit, and we decided, you know what? Let's make something happen. We're going to start doing things differently with the Digging Deeper podcast, bringing some good folks on with commercials and things like that, making sure you guys are still excited for it. So with that being said, we have an 8x35-inch sluice with the regular Vortex Dream Mat. It's from the Bigfoot series from Dave and Tim themselves to give away. It's going to be a grand prize. So with that being said, oh, Dave has so many drums. It's not even funny. I can't even read how many drums. Jeez Louise. Love you, Dave. Love you. Holy moly, macaroni. So before we get to that real quick, first and foremost, we've had a lot of different folks jumping on the PB website, www.prospectingbuddy.org, to join other folks in your state to go and prospect with. Like me and Alan and Arrow talked about earlier. If you're new to the game, you have no clue on where to start. There's many different avenues, local clubs. We're trying to change that with PB. We have a website where it's absolutely free. Jump in, join the state. We have all the states up there. The second you join the state on the state list on our website, there's tons of members that you can reach out to, personal message, say, hey, are you in my area? And you can go dig with them. That's why they're on there. That's why they're signed up, because they're willing to dig with you. They're willing to dig with new members. That's why they're on the website. So, with that being said, don't hesitate. Jump over there, www.prospectingbuddy.org. Get over there, join your state, find some people in your area, drink some beers, eat some steaks, whatever the case may be. Find no gold or find a lot of gold. Whatever the case may be, jump over there, find some people in your area before we give this away. And last but not least, shout out to Dave, shout out to Tim, love you guys. Appreciate you guys for such a good giveaway item. With that being said, let's get some drum rolls in here. Drum rolls, drum rolls,
Yeah,
drum
I'm already
rolls.
seeing some drum rolls happening.
Holy moly, yeah, we got tons. Yeah. Michael Schmidt, Crispy Street. Holy moly, Glenn Silva, the Canadian Hillbilly.
Drum rolls. Here we go.
Hey,
love
Glenn
it.
Silva.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Make sure you jump over to our website, find a person to dig with. I'm telling you, it's extremely beneficial. With that
Rob
being
Magar
said,
just posted the website. Rob
Yep.
McGuire just posted
Yeah,
the
just posted it,
website,
yeah.
so just track that down.
Yeah. No, jump on the website. There's tons of fun stuff over there, guys. You cannot go wrong jumping on the Prospecting Buddy website. It's a ton of fun. With that being said, let's do the drum roll before we jump off of this podcast for the evening. Who is the grand prize winner? Who is the grand prize? Oh, wow.
Do we want
Okay.
to throw one more person in?
Oh. What do you mean?
Jonathan Estrella just jumped in, said late join.
No.
Hi, everyone.
Nope. After the line is the cutoff. We
Yep,
did the
yep.
cutoff. The
Okay.
cutoff is for the cutoff, and that's the way the world works. So the grand prize winner of the Bigfoot series river sleuths, Mr. Fred Messimer.
Oh,
Mr. Fred
hey,
Messimer.
what Joe?
Congratulations, Fred.
Yeah, Mr. Fred Messimer, you are the winner, buddy.
Woo!
Obviously reach out to me, send a message, and we'll get that sent over to you, man. We'll get that relayed over to the Dream Mat guys over there, and we'll make it happen. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and log off here. I appreciate every single one of you jumping on this evening. 57 people watching. Special guest Allen Guthmiller with the Gold Rattler. You guys can expect to see this bad boy the next couple of years around your neck of the woods, GPAA shows, freaking regular goop digs. I mean, this thing is just going to go to town. So, Alan, I appreciate you. I love you, buddy.
Thank you, both of you, for having me. And, hey, everybody, best of luck to you. Get out there and find some gold because it's still out there. And we'll see you next time on PB.
Most definitely.
And if you can get any deals on fancy hats, you let Alan know.
All right, everybody. I love you guys.
All right.
We'll see you on the next podcast. See ya.
Good night.